The biggest, most deadly TV event of the summer is approaching, Shark Week.
Yay! Like, did you grow up in a Shark Week family? Because in mine, it was a week-long holiday every summer.
Yes, I watch it with my brother every summer, which is why it's so exciting for us to be invited by Discovery to join in on this year's Shark Week press junket.
Yes, we got to screen a few of the programs that will be airing next week, and they were really interesting and obviously scary. Like the scene of the middle school girls parasailing being lowered into shark-infested waters.
You saw sharks. Shut up. No, you didn't.
But as they were being reeled in, they saw more sharks.
That's a shark. That's a baby shark. Don't dip us. Don't dip us.
And they absolutely lose it when their feet hit the water.
I literally couldn't stop laughing because it was so terrifying. Like they were being lowered and screaming to the captain, like, do not lower us. There are 6 sharks circling below us. Do not lower us. And the captain was just like, they're just kidding.
There's no sharks.
Literally they were in the water with the sharks.
Luckily, they were pulled out. They're okay. But then the video of the first ever double shark attack.
As Shannon carves into the crest of a wave, the dorsal fin of a great white surfaces. And then, the horrifying reality. A second fin. The sharks collide. Shannon flips in the air and disappears beneath the surface. Shannon is trapped between 2 great whites.
And the experts were saying they're not sure if it was a coordinated attack together or if they were competing with each other. But luckily the surfer was okay.
And then there was that devil shark that there was an entire episode on, and we'll actually be interviewing one of the divers from the episode later. And apparently the shark was 16 feet long and it attacked 2 people in 2 weeks off the coast of an island in the West Indies.
Yeah, that was a really cool investigation. And I guess Shark Week has been airing since 1988, so it's the longest running cable TV programming event in history, and it still pulls in roughly 20 million viewers every year.
So the series initially started as a conservation effort and to kind of just clear up misconceptions about sharks, which have actually been in the oceans for about 400 million years, which is insane. And even though Shark Week has become obviously more sensationalized over the years, it still is a cultural phenomenon.
So we got to speak to one of the hosts of this year's specials, and she was the first woman to ever have her own Shark Week show, journalist, diver, and conservationist Kinga Phillips.
Okay, so we have to ask, because we're so curious, how did you first get involved with Shark Week in general? Did you have experience specifically with sharks? How did this all start?
That is a great question. And it's a long and winding road that started with me watching Jaws as a kid and becoming extremely terrified and not wanting to go into swimming pools, bathtubs, the water at all. And then because I'm a journalist, and even as a kid, I was always really curious. I went, why am I so scared? What's the reality of this? And then I was probably in my 20s when I went out to Hawaii and did a cage dive, and a big tiger shark showed up. And I was like, whoa, this is incredible. And also, it doesn't want to eat me. The media has portrayed this differently. And so I started working with an organization called Shark Allies and had worked with them for many years while also doing adventure travel shows for TV, working with Travel Channel and National Geographic. And then I was like, wait a minute, there's a natural progression towards Shark Week here. I did my first one in 2021, and that was really exciting.
Wow, we never ever would have guessed that you started being terrified of sharks. The sneak peek we got from next week's programming is when you're out hunting for the devil shark and you're in the boat and you guys see a big tiger shark coming towards you and you just jump right in the water with it. Are you ever these days scared when you're around sharks? And what is going through your head when they're swimming inches away from you?
That's such a good question, because I can't say that I'm afraid, because we have so much experience in observing the animals and knowing how to react around them. But they're apex predators, and they have millions of years of evolution that teaches them to hunt and to eat. So you should have a solid, healthy respect for sharks. And if you guys saw some of those clips, there's a moment in one of those shows where the shark charges me and I have to grab it in the safety diver and I push it away. That was not expected. And in the moment, you asked what you're thinking, you were honestly, it's a survival instinct. You don't think anything.
Yeah, we did see you deal with a lot of tiger sharks on the show this year, but we also saw in your analysis, you kind of analyzing the attacks of bull sharks and great whites and black tips. Do you have a favorite type of shark, a shark that you're most scared of, and which one you think is the deadliest overall?
Ooh, great questions. I am partial to tiger sharks. I've spent the most time with them. I love them. I think they are such beautiful sharks. I'm probably the most comfortable in the water with them. Great whites are extraordinary. Great hammerheads are just the dreamiest sharks. Being in the water with oceanic white tips is incredibly intimidating. I always say they're like a Fortune 500 CEO. They walk in and they're like, I'm here. Everyone get behind me. Oftentimes when we're working with sharks, with the big sharks, with tigers, if they come into you and you have to redirect them, you can kind of move them with your hands. Oceanics, I don't want my hands near them.
And so in one of the programs, you broke down why shark attacks are so deadly, and sharks are basically killing machines. Like you talked about their teeth and like how they shake you and ambush you. Can you just kind of explain like why they are so deadly?
They are essentially swim, mate, eat, swim, mate, eat. That's what they do. And they are perfectly designed for that. They have seven senses. So if there's food around, they're going to find it. And when they find that food, they want it. One of the things with swimming with sharks is like maintaining eye contact because they want to sneak up on you. They are designed for tearing flesh apart, especially tiger sharks. Like their teeth are designed to break apart shells of sea turtles. So if one comes to you and they'll do the bump and bite. That's how they test things because they don't have hands, so they can't be like, well, what are you? Let me check you out. If they just give you one test bite, well, oh, there goes your arm.
Something else that we really love about Shark Week is that you're always like learning something new that you just never knew about sharks. Is there a new discovery you kind of learned of recently that really shocked you?
So one of the things that they're learning about now and we're studying extensively is what makes certain sharks go after people or objects that maybe they normally wouldn't? Is it a personality trait where some of these sharks are a lot more bold than others? Because we're talking about clear Caribbean water. They're not making a mistake there.
Can you give us some best tips for swimming? But then also we saw the videos of even if you're just kayaking and sharks coming up, how can we stay safe in the water?
Probably the most important thing when getting in the water is looking at your environment. There were sea lions present, or there was a bait ball and there were birds diving in, so you knew that there were fish underwater. That's shark food. Really, it's about erratic movements. Like if you're in the water and you do know there's a shark and people panic, which is kind of normal, and they start splashing around and thrashing, that's going to have the opposite effect of what you want because the sharks are going to be like, "Oh, what's this? Movement and splashing? Is this an injured fish?"
We have read that shark populations are increasing in the US. Like, why do you think that is? Is that just because we're getting so much better at protecting them?
Exactly. So we depleted shark populations for such a long time that we'd eradicated like 70% of the sharks in the ocean. So now with modern protections, exactly correctly like you said, shark populations are coming back. We do want them there. They're apex keystone species that help keep our oceans healthy. So it's a good thing.
And you were actually, we know, the first woman to host the first, like the Shark Week show that was in 2021. Why do you think the adventure space and like the nature space even is so male dominated still? And have you seen signs that that might be changing?
It's definitely changing. And, that was such a huge honor to be the first female host of Shark Week. That was awesome. And they've obviously had amazing female scientists on there. They've had celebrities on there. But to get to have my own show was really, really special. And when I got into TV like 25 years ago, I was always the sidekick and I'd get to point at things. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is cool. Yeah, this is fun. Got to work my way up from this. And eventually just things started shifting as they always do in society. And now you see a lot of women in that space, really representing it publicly, and that's great.
And this episode of ours is coming out before Shark Week. So why do you think people should tune into Shark Week this year?
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, we have 20 brand new shows. So that's a lot of new Shark Week shows. And they just run the gauntlet of everything. If you want to be entertained and have fun and watch cool stuff happen, we got it. If you want science and knowledge and education and information, we got it. So it's a little bit of everything, and that's what makes our Shark Week really fun. And we have different species of sharks, and we have like extraordinary scientists and personalities, and all the people who work at Shark Week that I've ever worked with love sharks. So there is a lot of passion behind it.